You're listening to the legendary podcaster, the one, the only, T-Jam D. Your personal favorite, and the show you've been waiting for. Probably Offensive.
Welcome to Probably Offensive. I am your host, Anthony Scott Dover. We are maybe in the middle of a pandemic, maybe at the end of a pandemic. I'm not quite sure right now because all the arguing that's going on about wearing masks is still going on, but now about the vaccine. People have been vaccinated. They want to know if they can stop wearing masks. They want to know if they can travel. We want to know what Dr. Fauci says or what he thinks versus dumbass politicians who disagree with him. So the health crisis is still political, but the vaccinations are moving forward in a positive. People are being vaccinated, and it's ahead of Joe Biden's schedule. He said he wanted 100 million people to be vaccinated in 100 days, his first 100 days of office. And so far, he's not been in office, but a couple of months? So close to 60 days, maybe a little over 60 days, not quite 60 days, I don't think. But there's been 58 million people vaccinated so far. So, or maybe over that, I don't know. See, I done lost track of what the hell is going on. But they're ahead of Joe Biden's schedule of getting 100 million people vaccinated by his first 100 days in office. So that's a million people a day. They've done more than vaccinated a million people a day. Speaking of vaccinations, I just wanted to say this about the vaccinations, because a lot of people, including myself, I'm not going to lie to you and say that I'm planning on getting vaccinated. I'm not, actually. But that's not the same reasons that a lot of people, especially black people, are not planning on getting vaccinated. I'll tell you my reason for not getting vaccinated. I think this vaccine was rushed. I think they were in a big hurry to get this vaccine out there. So they rushed it, and this vaccine was created within a year. No other vaccine that I've ever heard of or done, I've never heard anything in the news about another vaccine ever for any other illness, any other virus being created in less than a year. And this one was. So it makes me a little leery. Plus that, I've never had the flu vaccine. I've planned on getting the flu vaccine many times and just never got around to it. And I'm just not a very sickly person. I don't know. Maybe you could chalk that up to good genes or something. But I'm not sick very often. Like I said, I've never had the flu vaccine. And I was a little leery of getting the COVID vaccine because they created the vaccine in under a year. So for me, it makes me a little leery. But those of you who are confident in the vaccine, and like I said, millions and millions and millions of people have already gotten the vaccine. 99.9% of those people seem to be doing fine. I've not heard anybody say that they've tested positive after receiving the vaccine. So it looks like the vaccine is good. Some people have gotten the vaccine to where you have to get 2 shots. Some people have gotten the vaccine where you only got to get 1 shot. But from what's been reported, the vaccine seems to be working just fine. And my philosophy is that they only have to vaccinate half the people. If you vaccinate half the people in America, then those half of the people are not going to get the coronavirus, and they're not going to spread the coronavirus. So if half the people are not spreading the coronavirus, then the other half of the people are not getting the coronavirus, because half of the people don't have the coronavirus and are immune to it because of the vaccine. So, and the other half of the people who didn't get the vaccine, a lot of them already had the coronavirus. But if you have half the people not able to spread the the virus, then then we're out of the pandemic. I know a lot of people didn't understand what I just said, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and get your vaccine. The vaccine is more than likely safe. And as for anyone who has died after receiving the vaccine, that person more than likely would have died anyway. Some of these people are pretty old. They're like 80s and 90s, and they get the vaccine and then they die. And people say, oh, they died because of the vaccine. No, they didn't. They may have died because they're 90 years old. A lot of times people who are 90 die. They drop dead out of nowhere because they're old. You know, we don't have the medical technology to take the decay of your body backwards in time to where you can just be just as strong as you were when you were young, when you were 90. If we did, then we'd have a population problem. Some people already think we got a population problem, which we don't. For those of you who've never been out west, or if you're listening to the show and you've never been to the Midwest, if you're out in California and you've never been to the states in the middle of the country, there's a lot of land there that's not being used. Basically, in Nebraska, Wyoming, Kansas, there are Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois. There are miles and miles of open fields there. So we don't have a population problem. If anybody starts to telling you, oh, these conspiracy theories about how the government wants to kill everybody because we have a population problem, that's not true. We've got plenty of land that's not occupied. Trust me, I was an over the road truck driver for many years. And I'm not, but I've seen the country many times. I crisscrossed this country driving back and forth in my truck. There's a lot of land that's not being used. There's some land that people have as ranches, but they don't have enough cattle or steer to occupy it. They got maybe 100, 200, 300 animals out there, but they got hundreds of acres of land. So they got like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 acres of land, and they only got like 200 cows or something. That's not, they're not even using up half of it. So anyone who tells you that oh, we got a population problem and the government is just trying to secretly kill everybody, so the place is not so. That's nonsensical. You haven't seen the country if you think that. Okay, I've seen the country. I've been to Texas. Okay, I've been to New Mexico and Colorado and Utah and Idaho and the Dakotas. Okay, like I said, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois. These places, these states, Kansas. These states in the middle of the country are practically empty. I hate to say that because some people are living in those states and thinking, what the hell is he talking about? I've been there. I've been through there. Only the big cities have a lot of people around, in and around big cities. The rest of those places are, some of them are farmland, but some of them are not even farmland. They're just nothing there. Just open fields. Some of them are just, a forest is there. A bunch of trees blowing in the wind. So, we don't have a population problem as of yet. But this vaccination, and some black people are afraid to take the vaccination because the government has, in the past, many years ago, used black people to experiment on with treatments. And so some black people are afraid to take the vaccination. But here's the thing about that. Fear. This virus, or this vaccination rather, is going to everyone. Okay? They're not using it to experiment on you. If they, they're giving it to everyone. Not just black people. If they were using it to experiment, they would only be giving it to black people and to see what happens. They're giving it to everyone, so you don't have to be afraid. Not for that reason, anyway. If you got some other reason not to take the vaccine, or if you just feel legitimately now, if you're a person who just never gets sick, I'm so tongue tied for some reason right now. I hardly ever get sick. I'd take a medicine and stuff whenever I do get sick, but I hardly ever get sick. I haven't called in to work, called in sick in over 3 years. And so, like I said, I've never even taken the flu vaccine. I was planning to. Just never get around to it, and I didn't need to, apparently, because I went through the whole flu season every year without taking a vaccine. So, I'm just stupid enough to think that I don't need the vaccine. But a lot of you do need it because you're sickly people, and then your immune system has been compromised by other illnesses besides COVID. And so you need the vaccine. You should get it. This vaccine looks like it's a good vaccine. There's millions of people who have taken it already, and they're doing fine. So if there was a rash of people dropping dead, then I'd say, uh-oh. Hold it right there with this vaccine. But that's not the case. Only in the minds of conspiracy theorists will they dream up something. And it's usually that population control nonsense. We don't have a population problem. We got plenty of fields. Plenty of places where we can populate. It just so happens that everybody crowds around the big cities because that's where the jobs are. And that's where the houses are. So a lot of people like jobs and houses, you know what I'm saying? So they